Hi, 8th graders. Today we're taking a look at properties of dilations, and we are on page, it's lesson 2, page 13 in your textbook. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. And what our target for today is that you'll be able to use a compass and a ruler to perform dilations, and that you'll be able to dilate maps of lines to lines, segments to segments, rays to rays, and you will know that those angles and lines and things are preserved. So we're going to kind of put everything together here. So on page 13, we're going to take a look at example 1, and it's dilating map lines to lines. And currently we have line L, and we have 2 points on this line. And we're going to use those 2 points to make another line. And we are going to go ahead and we're going to dilate this with a scale of 2. So we are going to take our compass and we're going to put our point of our compass on point O. And we are going to measure the distance using our compass and we need to measure from point O to point Q. Okay, so let's go ahead. And there we go. We're going to measure it like that. Okay, hopefully yours is maybe a little bit, there you go. And then I can see that it is the exact same length. Okay. Actually, it doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to go ahead and up here, and I moved it to my Q, and I can draw an arc. Then I'm going to move this out of the way, and I'm going to go ahead and grab my straight edge, and I'm going to connect point O to point Q, but I'm going to extend it past. And then the point where our arc intersects with the line is then our P prime. I'm sorry, not P prime, Q prime. Then I go ahead and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to take my compass. This time I'm going to measure my distance between O and P. Okay, and we see it's the right angle, or the right sized angle. I'm going to go ahead and move my compass up and go ahead and start drawing my arc. Oops, I better make sure that that's the same. I just moved it. Okay, and now I'm going to move that out of the way, and I'm going to draw my straight line extending O through P. And as you notice, I did not make this large enough. So let's put it here, and let me redrag my arc. And I can see now where my next point is going to be, which is P prime. And I have now dilated the points the same distance, and therefore now I can draw my line, making my new line. I'm going to go right through these 2 points that I just created. And therefore, I now have my dilated line, line L prime. Easy, right? All right, let's take a look at the next one. On this next one, we are going to dilate this, and we're going to make this a, I'm talking in a circle here. We're going to go ahead and take this from on point O. Let me make sure. All right. We're going to go ahead and measure this distance. So we're going to take our compass and let's measure from O to P. There we go. And I'm going to now move my compass and draw my arc. And then I'm going to mark it. There's my P prime. And I'm going to do the same thing going the other direction. So I'm going to put my compass and put it on my Q, on my point Q. There we go. All right, and I'm going to pick it up, move it over, draw my arc, and now I have my Q prime also. All right, let's look at the next one. On this next one, we have, it says, given center O and triangle ABC, dilate the triangle from center O with a scale of 3. Now, let's go ahead and draw our lines, starting from our point O, going through C. Then I'm going to draw from point O, going through B, and then O going through A. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my compass. And because we know that this is a scale of 3, we know that we're going to have to do this more than one time, because last time we were just having a scale of 2, so it was twice as big. Well, now we're going to have it 3, so we really have to pay attention to that. So we're going to take a look at this, and I need to measure from my point O and measure it to my point C, and there we have it. So I'm going to, here would be our double, and I'm going to go ahead and, that's not what I wanted, there we go. Want to draw my arc, pick up my compass, move it one more, and draw my arc. And now we have a length that is 3 times. So when I go ahead and write this, this would be C prime right here. Now let's go ahead and do the same thing for the next one. Put it on O. Let's go ahead and line it up. There's my point B. I'm going to go move my compass. There we go. There's our first one. That would be our scale of 2. Now we need our scale of 3. And there we can label that now. And that is B prime. And finally, we're going to do the third one. Line it up. Point A. Move it over. Draw our first arc, move it the second time, draw our arc again, and there we have it. So we have our last point, which is A prime. Now the last thing we have to do is connect to make our triangle. So we're connecting our 3 points here, C to A, B to A, and C to B. Now, what I do want to point out is we're going to go ahead and we're going to measure some of this. So when it says on letter B on top of page 15, it says measure the length of the segment AB and A prime B prime. What do you notice? So we need to go back and measure those. So go ahead and pause it while you measure, and then let's come back and take a look at it. Oh, down at the bottom, I missed one, I'm sorry. Note that the triangle ABC is made up of segments AB, BC, and CA. Were the dilated images of these segments still segments? Absolutely, they're still segments, right? So yes. When dilated, the segments are still segments. Letter B, we were supposed to measure those, and when you measured them, you should have noticed, what did you notice? The length of segment A prime, B prime was 3 times that of segment AB. And let's take a look at the next one. Verify the claim you made in part B by measuring and comparing the lengths of BC and B prime C prime and segment CA and C prime A prime. And what does this mean in terms of the segments formed by the dilated points? So what does that prove to us? Well, the lengths of segments are dilated according to the scale factor. So whatever that scale factor is, whether it's a point, whether it is a shape, a line, a ray, anything, as long as it follows the scale factor, it is correct. Now it says measure angle ABC and then measure angle A prime, B prime, C prime, and what do you notice? What do you notice? Go ahead and measure it. The measures are the same. Why is that, guys? Why does that matter? Yeah, on letter E, when it asks this, what it means is that when we move these shapes, when we dilate them, the angles do not change. They are preserved. Okay, the angles are preserved. They stay the same. That's very important. All right, now we have something a little bit different, and let's take a look at this one. We are on page, this one is on page 23. So turn ahead to page 23. And when we look at this one, we're going to use a ruler to dilate the following figure from the center O. Look at O, it's way down in the bottom right, and we're going to use the scale factor of 1/2. Now previously we've talked about scale factors, And knowing that this scale factor is a half, because it's less than 1, it is going to get smaller. So let's review that a scale factor, if it's greater than 1, it's going to get larger. But a scale factor less than 1, oh, what did I write a P for? A scale factor less than 1 gets smaller. Okay? Reminder that, yes, we think of smaller than 1 as being fractions, which is true. However, we can also have a scale factor that's larger than 1 that's a fraction, such as 5/3, because that's an improper, so that would actually be 1 2/3 the size. So we need to be very careful that if we're looking at an improper, we realize that it is still greater than. In this case, we're using a scale factor of a half, which is less than, so we know this shape is getting smaller. The bottom number, the denominator, shows us that it's going to get smaller like by cutting it in half into 2 segments. Now, we do not yet know how to use a compass to do this, so we are going to use a ruler. So you literally are going to measure this length, and we're going to divide it in half. So we are going to measure this length and divide it in half. All right, when you do this, we're going to, let me go ahead and let's draw our lines. Okay. There it is to K, to L, M, and J. Are we ready? Grab your ruler. My ruler is not going to be the same as yours, so please be very careful. You're going to have to measure your own. And let's see how I can get this. All right. In the case of mine, I'm going to go ahead and line it up here. Mine is 3 7/8. So I need to take 3 7/8 and divide it by 2. Actually, let me see if, for the case of quickness, speed, if I can do... Nope, that's not going to help me any, is it? All right, so 98, we can go and mark our center, which 98 divided by 2, 47. 49, what am I thinking? All right, well, let's mark it. There we go. And we're going to do the same thing with each additional point. So go ahead and line it up. Here we have, looks like 125 for me. So I'm going to mark it at my 62.5 and move it to my next one. And I have, for me, it's 116, which is 58. And my last point. Oops. Which looks like 96, which then would be 48. All right, once I have that drawn, I'm going to move my ruler out of here. And with, well, if you're going to use the ruler, I'm going to go ahead and draw with my line tool. And I'm going to connect my points. And there I have my shape dilated by 1/2. All I have to do is label my points. And as I label them, I have my J prime, M prime, L prime, and K prime. So we have dilated it by 1/2.